when we're looking at these commissions and we're looking at the way that we're paid, we need to get ahead of the insurance companies. We need to get ahead of the way that things are structured. And we need to start saying, fees are things that conceptually we can have in our business immediately if we start to recognize clarity on service is the missing link, not the collection of money. We need to not be fooled with this argument that fees have to get paid directly. They don't. The money you are receiving today is the client's money. And once the client understands that, then they're going to ask questions and saying, well, why would I deal with another broker when they give me nothing, when you give me all of this service? And they would have got paid the same amount as that. When somebody comes back to you and says, I've been to another broker down the road and they're willing to cut 20 basis points off the investment fee, then you can say to them, well, I hope they know how to contract properly and I'd like to see the service offer that they've given you to find out what they're going to do over that period, because we wouldn't be able to afford to do that for you. And the whole conversation then starts to shift. If you get to a point where people come in and say, why do you use PPS? And your answer isn't trying to justify the product or say it's better than somebody else's. It's saying, I've got a good relationship with the company. I understand how they work. I know their administrative process and their underwriters. And for that reason, I can contract very effectively for them. And that means I am far more confident my clients will get what they need to get than people who write with other companies or don't understand those relationships. So there's a point that you can get to when people say, why do you use product provider X? Where you can start to say, because they're as good as anybody else. It's just that I've got this particular relationship, which means I understand their contract more effectively. And that works for you, Mr. Client. So once you do that, you're then on a place where this idea of fees becomes something that's much easier to understand. So if you want clients to pay you fees, you need to explain the value they're going to receive for that fee. And this is where that question on the tender is really important to understand, because we keep on putting this emphasis into, the financial plan is the value. It's not, it's just a starting point. The reality is the financial plan will say, here's your initial position, here's what you can change. So change your insurance a bit, we need to invest a bit more money, we need to put some money towards retirement. Managing that and keeping me on track over the next 10 years and 15 years has much more value to me, much more value than that initial little document is going to have. The product providers want that initial document to be the value, because then everything shifts back to the products again. So what we need to do is to say the product providers have their own value proposition in their own right. What I will do as your advocate is hold them responsible to that. So they have said they're going to do certain things. I'll make sure they're doing that on your behalf. So you're employing me to keep them straight. I'll make sure they do what they are supposed to do. And that's the client involvement and ownership of the strategy. All right. So yes, you need to be insured. Yes, you need retirement. Yes, you need investment. These things are just universal truths. The point of this process is, how do you get the client best involved with that process and getting the best they can out of the financial life that they're able to deliver? And when you got that value clear in your mind and you've got your process set up to deliver on that, then you're in a place where things really start to move in the positive direction, and your brand becomes the primary financial brand for those individuals. I'm not going to talk much about fees anymore today, but it's something that we can deal with in future courses when we move in that direction. But just remember, if you do want to talk to clients about fees, it's all about transparency. It's all about ease of communication. And it's all about objectivity. Don't hide behind percentages. Don't say, I'm going to charge you 1%. Say, I'm going to charge you 1%, which is equivalent to at the moment. Talk in rands and cents. You're going to pay this much money up front. You're going to pay this much money each year. This is what I'm going to do for you in return for that money. Legislatively, all of that has to be disclosed to the client. It's going to get more so rather than less so. It's really important that you don't get frightened by a pricing conversation, but that you are able to say to the client, it costs that because I'm giving you this, and there is real value in that process and what's there. I'm transparent, I'm open, and I'm objective about what it is that we're doing for you. And you can see very clearly what's going to be involved with that. So what we need to express your value, and I think I've shown you a couple of examples today, I hope, is a clear and concise method of explaining your service upfront and ongoing. So I've shown you how to talk about your upfront service without talking about a product or a provider. I've shown you the value that you can offer ongoing in structuring that into your client's life. And I'm going to give you some examples of that just now. And if you're able to do those two things accurately, then you can build your process properly. And this is the big fault in most financial planning businesses, is process development hasn't been there. But as the leader, as the owner, your job is to provide that purpose and clarity on what value you're trying to deliver. And then our people can start to build the process to deliver on that. For the people in your administrative division, for any practice managers listening to me today, and again, welcome guys, I'm so glad to hear that people have got their practice managers involved in these sessions. Creating process would be a dream. Being able to say, I know clients fall into one of 4 baskets and I know exactly what they need to receive. Being able to give basic advice to clients, because even though I'm the practice manager, I've gone and got my qualification because administratively it makes more sense. Knowledge that, look, we know in the back office, 80% of communication from clients is with the back office. So how do we structure that to be most effective with people? How do we have remote access for people rather than direct access if you fit into economy class? How does that actually work?